Okay, hi. You might be thinking, what the hell happened with Wiz? What? Is this a different room? No, this is the same room, different angle, and with worse audio that I'd normally do my videos from. This room's going to be redecorated. Another room's going to be redecorated. I'm going to be in that other room, and I'll be doing. Somebody who's moving in this one will be doing the decorating for this room. I'll be doing the decorating from the room I'm moving into. So we're swapping. Uh, and money permitting, I'll be decorating it and get a nice sofa. I've modified the desk. I might do a video on that. If you've got a corner desk, particularly the sort that I've got or had but now modified, and a few more tweaks along the way I might be thinking of. So that is no longer a corner desk. The corner piece, the curved piece that is for the actual corner, can be used actually as a board on the side of the desk, as kind of not like a separator, although it could be halfway through the desk as a separator. But it just another board on the side that you can rest things against. If you had two of those, you could put like books between as well. It's modified. Is the two main tops, apart from the corner piece, are now together flat against the wall, but they need to be shifted across a little bit to add one more smaller desk of the same design with a bit more of a bookcase kind of side on it. I think I can get one designed that way. Yeah, we'll see. Get something as close to it, but that's more money, and we'll talk about money in a bit because I've talked about this before. The rich people just have no idea how people like us, the middle class, middle to lower classes, have to live every day. And it's a shame that I have to even say middle to lower classes. You know, the ultimate dream perhaps would be a classless society where everyone's on equal footing, but it's that's never going to be a thing. Not in. And maybe it's possible. That would be a very different world, though, to allow it to be possible. Uh, Rich oligarchs in America. I hope the audio's relatively okay, by the way. And human nature. Human nature is naturally an advocate of having company. We're a gregarious species. We need each other's company. We need each other's support. But when people, it's a double whammy for America because you got those variables of the disdain for decent education. Because this is America. You don't need to be educated. It's a land of opportunity. You don't need to put the hard work in. You don't need critical thinking. Things will just happen. That was a great promise that got slammed and hammered with great force into people's brains over and over and over. And rich people, some born into money, are told, yeah, you're an entrepreneur, aren't you? Every time I hear that word, fuck off. That's just a stupid, tacky, pathetic American term to feed the pathetic, broken, disgusting failure of the American dream. George Carlin was right. It's called the dream because you have to be asleep to believe it. And how do they put you to sleep? They keep repeating these lies over and over and over, exploiting emotion. So if you emotionally feel like something is true with high emotion, you're not going to bother to find out. Same with paranoid conspiracy theorists. See, there it is in a book. See, there it is on Google search. It must be true, kind of mindset, right? Um, if I am emotionally thinking that something is highly likely to be true, what I've done and many times is look for the opposite, unless I have knowledge to support what I think rather than only emotion. So Google search, people cherry pick information to support their emotional claim already, and this is what we're seeing with the Trump administration over and over and over. This is how cults are made. The dumbing down. This is how America became a cult factory. Ku Klux Klan, Young Earth creationism, flat earthers, MAGA, Scientology. I could go on, it's just ridiculous. So, on top of the dumbing down, you got people with gone full circle. Those who are paying companies and companies paying them deals and shares in companies and so on. They're all looking after each other there. Generation after generation, they get more and more disconnected from the average person and what it's like for them. More disconnected because they don't have to live like that, but even more disconnected in knowing what it is, why they have to budget everything past a certain degree of monetization. You don't need to budget anything. I will always have to budget all of my life, or I've talked about possibility of inheritance. It would be a lot better for me, huge amount, if it turns out the way I've been kind of led to believe. However, I would still need to budget. Because nothing lasts forever unless you're a billionaire, right? Or some people are trillionaires. This is absolutely disgusting, absolutely ridiculous. They cannot relate to anybody like myself, where I've mentioned this before, I spent a week in Devon at the first week in June. Well, I went on a train 2nd of June. We're still June now, it's the 27th, it's soon coming to the end of the month. It's been a long month to me because I've crammed so much in. But here I am looking at train trips, thinking, I want to be comfortable going to the location. First class or not. Then there was a one-off cheaper deal on the first class, not like the usual amount. Well, okay, I'll have that one. But if you got millions and billions, you're just like, oh, I'll have that. You don't even begin to think, is that too pricey? Step one, just ordering the train. Well, actually, step one was getting the bus here from where I am to the train station, which is about an hour trip. So that was money to be considered, actually being considered, because I have to budget, and also telling work I need this week off. Is there anybody? It's first come first serve. It's a small team of people. If somebody's got that week off before I have, chances are I might have to work. And it turned out somebody did, but this lovely work colleague said, it's fine, I have a different week. You enjoy yourself. Have a trip to North Devon in the UK. It's my break away, and great. It's great to have work colleagues like that. So there's that. You've got to consider, am I got the right slot? Is that slot going to be cost worthy for the apartment I'd like to book every year? Same apartment. It's a lovely apartment, very practical, very peaceful, and I disconnect, I chill out, and there is internet in like Wi-Fi in the apartment. I used it once or twice for a short term here and there. Nothing was permanently connected. It was just a place to chill. First thing in the morning, all you're gonna hear is the wildlife out the back because the trees and um, hedgerows and all that just out the back of the apartment, and if you don't even hear that there's a road nearby, you don't even hear the traffic going by because there's up a bit of a bank, and then you got buildings, and then you got a driveway, and then you got the apartment further up there, so all that blocks the noise. Great. So going back to, is that slot going to be the cheaper one that I matched up the week I need off? And all of this is like billionaires that just look online, click, click, click. It could cost thousands. Booking the apartment for 1,080, which it is sometimes in the year, at certain months of the year, outside of my price range. And I just can't do that. Sorry, I just heard something outside of people walking by. And it's before you even done anything, before you got the train trip, whatever. All this prioritizing in your brain, the thought process. Now, what are these rich oligarchs doing at all when they don't have to prioritize? Instead, they fantasize perhaps about what they're going to do with their money, and they got so much they just do it as well. And the blurred line between fantasy and reality just gets blurred. It doesn't get defined because, especially with people who are more emotional than critical thinking. With that, along with that, you got emotion being highly encouraged in American politics and critical thinking being discarded anyway, which is affecting not just the politicians but the citizenship. Why is it being done that way? It's been done that way because they've discovered the way to do, they thought, the best way to do capitalism is get people so emotional and they get addicted. Then we got the money coming in. These people are money mules for us. They're money mules, bring in the money, get them addicted, get them consuming, get them entertained. Don't educate them though, because they get too smart, they'll be doing their own thing, and that'll be competition and a threat to our system of control here. Yeah, but it's gone full circle with the dumbing down because nobody knows anything of greater significance within these rich oligarch, the Trumpism, Trump administration. Look at just look at what is happening. People keep repeating the absurdity of people like Trump within the party, and despite how mind-blowingly absurd it is to the whole world, these people create a world on their own. A echo chamber, a bubble that is so dense, ironically, dense with such layers of bullshit because it's high emotion. Because these people are so, why are they so emotional? Because they're lonely. I know this sounds morbid, but human nature, a lot of human nature is loneliness and suffering. It is, and I don't mean to be deliberately morbid about that. There's people out there that they enjoy their life, they have a great time, and we all do here and there, but they're doing things to mitigate the loneliness and suffering. But you're going to be lonely and suffering when you can't relate to the average person in the street more and more. So you got this tiny bubble, this tiny worldview now that, oh, I need my rich millionaire friends. This is why they end up looking after each other and not really looking after that which put them there in the first place. The citizenship, where the leader go, the leaders have to follow, or the influencers have to follow. I don't mean fucking celebrity uh, influences on YouTube or online. That's not what I'm talking about. Get that through the thick skull if you're. That's part of the American brainwashing. Oh, I got my friends list clocked up. Look how many people, how many followers I got. Blah blah blah. And you never even met one of these people in person. Of course, you might get conventions, whatever. It depends on what kind of celebrity you are, perhaps. But that's not what I'm talking about. But that again is the get them consuming, get them addicted, get them entertained. But facts, no, don't educate them. Because they see the errors of these ways and they understand why banning abortions is a bad thing, and they start to learn about biology being a bit sticky and why you get feminine men and masculine women, and masculinity is not really a man thing, it's a societal human nature thing. The same with feminism as well. It's only we equate it to masculine men and feminine women because those are generally where it's expressed, but there's blurry edges, right? And it's just not. There's a lot of women attacking men, men attacking women, and people are just shitty to people at the end of the day via a severe lack of education. And it is very, very severe when you look at America, when they got all the opportunity to maintain and put money into areas where it's needed instead of throwing money at problems. You can't fix a problem by throwing money at it, but in the education system. But you see a disdain of the education system in America now, defunding universities, because that's the opposition. And it's no good. They can't have the opposition being more successful because you're in place. It'll be a threat to you, and you want to. These people are scared and afraid and worried that their little club is under threat. Of course, it's under threat. Your little club is extremely fragile if certain variables are in place and allowed to go ahead. That really should be going ahead by very, very normal standards, but they want to normalize their idiocy, their insanity. Why? Because they're desperate. These people are absolutely fucking desperate. RFK Jr., was it? What's his first name? Robert, is it? Or is it Richard? Robert Kennedy? Yeah. Why do we have to call him RFK? Because everyone referred to Kennedy. His JFK, John F. Kennedy. Back in the day, because of the shootings, the JFK conspiracy was did Lee Harvey Oswald really shoot him, or was it somebody else, and so on, and conspiracy layer after layer after layer. Nutty, paranoid conspiracy theory feeds nutty, paranoid conspiracy theories. Why? Because it's emotion all up there, and critical thinking. Oh, where'd it go? Down here somewhere. It just really gone. Hit rock bottom, and that's America. It's gone rock bottom. But this is why. Because these rich oligarchs are very, very lonely, suffering people. That's not to give them some charity, because they got their own self, the patheticness. I mean, look at people like Andrew Tate. Again, he's a lonely asshole trying to pretend to be an alpha male. Couldn't really get the trustworthiness of the opposite sex. And those he did fall are just as lonely and desperate as he is. This is why they repeat the bullshit that he he's repeated. And if they do that, oh, there's some money in it for them. People do absurd things the more desperate they get. Does it sound familiar? Why do you think the absurdity of the Trump administration is so fucking absurd? Caroline Levitt is just another idiot jumping on the bandwagon to repeat the insanity because she knows she would be under threat. And, you know, not to give her any charity, she shows all the facial body language signs and other things of pretty much a sociopath. There's no brow movement hardly. There's deadpan repetition. It's like there's no human in there. It's like a robot. There's a big difference between sociopathy and psychopathy, really. Sociopaths don't care about human feelings. Psychopaths don't care about human life, sometimes even their own. You know, so that's probably the best shorthand explanation, I think. Because deeper kind of explanation would get myself and yourself confused, I think. Because, we're complicated species. Yeah, just got a text there from a friend. I'm meeting up later. Gotta get to work later as well. So this is why it doubles down and gets worse and worse with people. Where people stop putting idiots in power. Just bigger does not mean better. That's something else America has broken itself with. They think, oh, if we got more, then we're better. More what? More idiocy? More insanity? More money? That is separating you from the lifestyles of having to prioritize within a budget. Doesn't help you relate to the majority of the people. It separates you. Of course, you know, America wants to be so separationist, and but the general public don't. They don't. There's tariff war, but Trump does, and Trump is still so socially inept and so stubborn. I thought of this idea, therefore I must be right. Cognitive dissonance. He still, even now, does not understand the tariff war. I think the damage it's doing. He gets an egotistic boner for just the attention. And he knows if he can just bullshit to you, he'll get the attention because he doesn't even know what the fuck he's talking about either anyway. He just has fantasies of superiority and people praising him, and these are other... If you're powerful, and you know, he must be a great person. No. With great power comes great responsibility. Something else that is just broken and doesn't exist in America put into the space of understanding, into the forefront of your brain, the prefrontal cortex. Yeah, let alone the American diet being so shoddy, they actually research on that now, where the nutrient levels in a lot of foods are not good enough for proper brain development during childhood. And the junk foods that children are eating are actually reversing, mitigating proper brain development. Because people focus a lot on, oh, I'm fat, I need to lose some body fat, or maybe bulk up some muscle mass. They think about the body, but they don't think about what's happening in between these years. This amazing object that is said to be the most complicated thing known to man, not my brain, but human brains. Yeah, but Trump would probably twist that and say, "Oh, I mean, he does, doesn't he? He twists it around his side. I'm very intelligent." They prove the very test that he's talked about, the cognitive test. Those are the tests that are given to people because they're senile or got dementia. That's the tests they do, similar to the ones actually presented to people in the UK. Interestingly, statistically, a lot of people, there's always going to be a grey area because biology is kind of sticky and spectrum and all this. But a lot of statistics are showing people who were prone to substance abuse, a lot of alcoholism, maybe drugs, or just alcoholism, just junk food, or alcohol, Adderall, cocaine, shrooms. I don't know if your name's Aaron Costello, yeah. They show signs of cognitive dysfunction. Psychedelics have people lose their identity, and that's not a good thing, actually. The experience seems to be talking about ego death as a good thing, but actually ego is a part of the puzzle of the human psyche that needs to be in place to function properly. I know that sounds a little absurd. You don't want, I've always said don't be too egotistic, but don't be too angry and don't be too upset all the time either. Yeah, it's all about having the right measures. Then ego is always worried about future or yesterday. It's never now in the moment. That's the problem with ego. But we need to plan for ideas of how the room move is going to work, and I got a visual image at a number of images that I've been playing with in my head, how I think it's going to look, or an aim for that. And emotionally, the emotional feel would be, surroundings would be professional, but not too professional, so it's clinical, but professional and comfortable as well, and a room I do videos from and online stuff from, work with my website. My website's just Exploratory Minds is back, but it's like somebody threw something at the wall at the moment, and it's still not in full takeoff. That will be going ahead. Once these things are out of the way, another project that was on pause as well was the ecosystem, which now had to be the water drained off because it'd be too heavy to move, otherwise it wouldn't be safe. I don't want to drop the jar. But the ecosystem will be a thing, as well as linked to a square like fish tank thing some point as well. Plants were growing, and they still can be growing. It left a little bit of water in there. They're the type of plants that can do reasonably well, not entirely submerged, but they can survive as well. So that's the thing. So shrimp and fish will be a thing eventually. It does fascinate me, the ecosystem stuff, like a filterless aquarium, and everything will take care of itself. Sometimes you get algal blooms, bacterial blooms that just calm back down, or if you change something too quickly, too soon, you upset the balance. So it's all interesting in research and knowledge to try and discern how that works. And when you see something going unbalanced, you hunt down the cause for that, because there will be a cause. Maybe a predator dies. A predator being, I don't mean like kind of shove things in, have fish eat fish, or generally what I mean is like maybe you got a big algal bloom and there's not enough to eat the algae, or maybe too many, lots of snails dying. Well, that's unusual. Why did they die? Is it something to do with something else that died and released a pollutant in the water that is detrimental to snails? There's also looking at researching the certain breed of tiny freshwater clams, and they release spores when they breed that can harm some fish, but generally they don't. But it's a very, they're like almost parasitic. The babies, and then they come away from what they're a parasite to. They can fit in the gill slits of the fish, but they come away, and the fish is usually fine. But some species of fish, that's a detriment too. So it's all about balance and what can go together to support each other, and have this whole kind of circular life and cycle, right? So I'm thinking that's going to be really interesting to do. So there's lots of projects on the way. There's the ecosystem that will be eventually restarted. There's the bedroom come living quarters next to this room. It'll be a living quarters as well as my online stuff, as well as the bedroom. It's a multifunctional, plenty of storage space, and the I was going to show you the paper that's going to go on walls, but the lighting here is terrible at the moment. So I mean, this camera is not going to pick it up properly. The lighting's not terrible as much as like where it is. It's facing the window, and it's yeah. But what do you think about that? Isn't that true? That's what's happening in America. The rich oligarchs are in power. They're dumbing each other down, but because they want to feel like they belong, because they know that each other know fuck all. Anyway, research to try and scientists expect to get paid for the hard work, and they got a budget, and they use critical thinking of here and there, what can they afford to do here and there, and so on. It's all part of human nature to do that. It's ingrained into our psyche. You break your psyche when you become so you're allowed to be highly irresponsible to free from nature's entrapments that have been good for natural selection to evolve us to a point where we can be successful, if you will, like we used to live in caves for fuck's sake, right? And with nomadic, going from one area to another and hunt or be hunted. You have to prioritize how we got the energy and time to go hunting today. Should we eat today, or should we just take care of the immediate area, get everything cleaned up, or is there children that need to be looked after? Yeah, and priorities. But when you got such monetization that you don't need any of those priorities, you disconnect yourself from the most basic levels of human nature, and things that we would, as normal people, not millionaires or trillionaires, whatever, would never even begin to think about. As you know, we just don't think. Today I'm not going to think, I won't go to work today. I think instead I have to go to work today to make sure I get my wage and make ends meet and so on. You know, I don't know. I'm trying to look for an example, but that's the trouble, though. They're so disconnected. It's hard to put yourself in their mind, their worldview, because it's so fucking disconnected. They don't live our reality. They're very inhuman. Very disconnected from the most basic human traits here. It sends them fucking insane, because they know they can do what they want, have what they want. But again, the double whammy here, what's feeding the absurdity is the lack of education of the facts, and they see everything in that is critical thinking, almost unconsciously so, as a threat, because they know fuck all, but they're successful anyway. So we don't need that, because if somebody else is getting smart, that's a threat to them, to their cults. And cults, what do? They make it difficult for you to leave, right? Yeah. America as a whole is a cult as well, because they make it difficult to leave, because they make it very expensive to leave, let alone taxing people who are not actually living actually on American soil but are American citizens way more than any other country would tax you. And it costs thousands of dollars to denounce your American citizenship to set up somewhere else. And it costs a few hundred for Canada and the UK anyway. I'm not sure what it is now, but in 2017 it was just $100 for Canada. It's just ridiculous. Thousands, because America is a cult and wants to make the smaller peasants within the cult, make it difficult for them to leave, and they need to be part of the machine that runs this bullshit American dream to keep these rich, selfish bastards in power, because they're lonely and scared that if that all falls apart, no, how do they relate to, what do they do? Rishi Sunak was a perfect example. He was always getting things so much done for him. You don't know who Rishi Sunak is, perhaps. He was a prime minister in the UK. He didn't know how to pay for fuel to put in his own car, because he's getting a billionaire. Billionaires getting involved in politics who are already billionaires, are born into money, doesn't work, because they don't understand these priorities that the average citizen has to do every single day. This is why they don't understand how detrimental and how serious and how dangerous it is to defund medical care, to have hospitals for profit when you can't afford a life-saving operation. GoFundMe should really be turned into a different name and call it Charity for America, because 1 in every 3 pages is Americans asking for help for medical care, or asking to support a family member or their child. They need an operation or they need care or something. Otherwise, that's it. You can't afford it or die anyway. It's disgusting. But when you mention socialism, something else that the cult is adamant to put out there, spewing out and keep repeating, rather than actual critical thinking, what do these words mean? What is it? They repeat a lot, they don't know what they're talking about. But they repeat, oh, socialism, no, that's communism. No, communism's communism, socialism, socialism. When I paid for my train, first class, for instance, part of my payment is subsidizing somebody else's first class and vice versa. And we're also paying for each other's freebies, if you can call them that. Everyone's paid for it a little bit, but spread the costs across the board, right? This is why sometimes, in busy times of year, you're going to get first class deals that are cheaper than usual first class deals on some train services, some companies, right? Why? Because you're sharing the work, like you're sharing the monetization. These rich oligarchs are not sharing fuck all, because they're lonely and they can't relate to the general public because it's so far removed. So they create their own echo chamber bunch of assholes that don't care, or don't check the facts anymore, because that means the opposition get educated. Mark Zuckerberg's, oh, we're not fact checking anything anymore. Right? This is why this is happening. Some exploration there of the minds of the human, who we are as human beings. because the loneliness factor, the drive to feel like we belong is so strong that you have these idiots repeating things because of the emotion, not because they know, but they repeat because that's my cult saying this, so therefore it must be true, or I've got to repeat this because everyone in my cult has repeated it. So I don't end up being pushed out. I want to belong. This is where I belong. I'm comfortable here. It's laziness. There's no two ways about it. There's no challenge to challenge that which is obviously being challenged by the whole world. But they want to feel like they belong. So you might think that's contradictory. I'll end the video in a minute. But you might think it's contradictory if I'm saying they want to feel like they belong. And the majority of the world is saying, no, this is idiocy, this is insanity the Trump administration is doing. They don't know how to relate to anything else because they've become so far removed. And this is where, because of the huge amount of monetization, that a very small few break everything for everyone else. I'm telling you, if you had enough people telling you, like that radiator behind me is, that white square there, that's a heating unit called a radiator. Don't need it on in the summer, but certainly need it occasionally in the winter. If you had enough people telling you that's an optical illusion, it's round, not square, even those who don't believe it will just repeat it in order to fit in. Some people. This is what you have with the rich oligarch crowd. This is what Caroline Levitt's doing. All she's doing. There's no critical thinking there, clearly. There can't be when you repeat that much absurdity and act like you believe it. But she's acting like she believes it because she herself either wants it to be true, or is jumping on that bandwagon because it's self-protection, because she knows she's on a winner if she's in the cult, in the bubble, because if she's on the outside of it, financially, she's under threat. She won't get paid, she might even get deported. Who knows? But then I doubt it, she's blonde and white, so she's... Yeah. She looks white supremacist enough, I guess, right? For fuck's sake, what a disgusting existence America is. And all because a bunch of assholes failed to learn how to be critical thinking and only emotional, and failed to use their money to relate to those who are worse off from them. Money does not necessarily change people as much as reveals them, though. It reveals them, but then they let the situation can change them. It's a double-edged sword, but generally it reveals these lonely idiots. Elon Musk is revealed to be not the fake image that his fans wanted to so desperately to believe, because there's a lot of cognitive dissonance there, I think. It's like, oh, I could never be that duped, therefore I must be right. You see that a lot in religion, which is basically a fucking cult. Yeah. I feel weird sat here and smoked a clothing cub in front of me. So I put the Cheshire said, this is serial killer vibes. So I just sat here with the way the lighting is, and there's an empty room behind me. This is it. I live here now. That's it. Now you're gonna see another room being. I might do time-lapse video of the decoration, because at the moment I got the pastel. It's very much the other person's style. There's pastel colouring, white pastel and blue pastel. Wall colouring, I don't like that. I find that kind of too weak. I want something that stands out better. So I have a nice wooden board again. It's like kind of like this paper, but a lot better. It's much lighter. Really, what I put on here should have been lighter for a smaller room. But also the amount of light that comes through this side of the house isn't as much as it comes through the other side of the house. And that's the other side. I'll be looking out the other side. So these are upstairs rooms anyway. So I'll have a different view out the window. I put a blind in the window. I got a blind here rather than curtains. I'm not a fan of curtains necessarily. The flooring, there is a carpet, but money permitting. See, you know, Elon Musk, if he was doing some home improvements wherever he lives or something, claims he doesn't live anywhere, he just moves around. Yeah, because probably doesn't know how to function properly in a home, just normal doings and comings and goings. But regardless, he probably go online, click, click, click. I love that. That's $2,000. A bit of gold rim here and there, very Trump-esque. Trump, I love it. You know, whatever. You know, obviously I'm laying on the sarcasm a bit thicker here because it's fucking ridiculous. It's disgusting, it's poisonous, and it's broken. And these people will never, ever, ever put their hand up and go, sorry, my bad. On simple things, then the simple thing gets a little bit more complicated, and they still deny, and it keeps that feedback going. Before you know it, you got an idiot like Trump inviting Elon Musk in, and an idiot like Elon Musk doing this Doge thing, getting a lot of people's details and fucking that up, and then leaving it behind. Install the poison and let it run on its own, because apparently he's just left it behind and to run its own thing now. He just said body language when he said, "Oh, I think I've done enough," was interesting. The way he said that when he was asked, "Are you done with the Trump administration now? Is there anything else you're doing to intervene into politics and so on?" There's a bit of a pause, and so the expression of his face and the way he said, "Well, I think I've done enough." He hates Trump. It was easy to see this going to happen. A narcissist and a narcissist will get along really, really well to start with, because they're going to utilize each other's ego to get what they want out of each other. As soon as they realize, oh, you're exploiting me, you just want something out of me, and the other narcissist thinks, oh, you're just exploiting me, you just want something out of me, then they clash, because what they want out of each other has got fuck all to do with each other's. There's no symbiosis there. It's in competition, and it's all American politics. It's not politics, it's a competition. It's like a celebrity contest. Politics should be fucking boring, not an entertainment platform like everything turned into an entertainment platform in America. To get you entertained, to get you addicted, to get you consuming and so on. It's fucking gross. Politics should be about budgeting. Who's going to pay for what? Where's the money going to come from? Where it's going to go into? How long it's going to take? Statistics, real world related facts. Not, oh, get them riled up and, oh, we're going to make America great again. How? And even Obama, like, yes, we can. How are you going to? What is involved for you to do this, and what else needs to change for you to enable that? No, yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. It's fucking obnoxious. comparative. Obama is a much more likable person, of course, but who isn't against the Trump administration? Yeah, all this projection as well. There's always projection when there's denialism, right? The denialism of Trump being sleepy. Yeah, practically falling asleep halfway through his speeches or slurring his words. The Trump administration and Trump projected that to Biden. Sure, Biden admitted that he's getting too old, is going to resign, so he stepped down by his own admission. You didn't need the whole world to chant and rant impeachment or step down, stop, or whatever, but Trump has to invite that because he's an egotistic fuck up who's, number one, very lonely, begging, groveling for attention. Number two, very scared and doubling down because he rallied for presidency because he wanted to avoid prison or jail time, whatever you want to call it. And number three, these assholes know the law system in America is too fucking slow anyway, and weak. Oh, the loophole, we'll exploit that. Oh, we found another loophole, we'll exploit that. And that's what's going on. This poisonous bag of shit is getting bigger rolling down the hill. And when it finally collapses under its own weight, it's taking the rest of America with it. No health care. Ban abortions. Get deported. You don't look American enough. No due process. Whatever. Fucking gross. America is a third world country. I don't say that to be vitriolic. I say that because it's fucking true. It's a third world country with a first world aesthetic. It's just a first world rapper, if you will. I mean, look at Trump. He's a product of all America's ills. I'm talking about a first world rapper. He's obsessed with things looking, the aesthetic appeal. Oh, it would look better if we annexed Canada. That's not the only reason, but it's a lot of basic reasoning. It's like very childlike. Trump is extremely childlike, born into money. His father was like property tycoon, really. Trump fantasizes he's doing deals when really he's shutting things down and extracting the money away from it. This fucking idiot bankrupt 2 casinos. Casinos, for fuck's sake. How'd you do that? I need like a lifetime research project just to find out how you do that. Addiction, consumerism, gambling, money would be pouring in, people getting addicted to the gambling machines and the Russian roulette being statistically one of the worst, very addictive. People have tried to beat it for decades. The house always wins, otherwise it wouldn't be a game, right? And he bankrupted these fucking casinos. This is the art of the deal for you. This is why he poisons, he ruins everything he touches. Because he'll fuck it over and extract that what he wants out of it and claim that's a win where everyone else is suffering because he just shat all over it. Thanks for watching. Take care. I look forward to doing another video soon. Be careful you don't get too rich and you go fucked up in here. Relate to the average people, the average person in the street who's working hard to try and make ends meet. Without them, there is no country, there is no society, there is no work being done, there is no saving people's lives even. There's nothing. Stop being a fucking idiot. Bye.